All right, welcome back everyone to Pick My Solar Deep Dive number 64. Ooh, keep getting up there.
Let's get into it.
We have a pretty fun topic today. I'm pretty excited to talk about this. Reasons to avoid DIY solar panel kits. So reasons not to install solar panels on your own. Should get pretty interesting here.
It should. I can't wait.
This guy kind of knows what he's doing, though. It looks like
He looked confident.
Yeah.
He looked real confident.
As always, ask us anything, write us a comment, send us an email, give us a call. We'll answer any and all of your questions. All right, let's get into it. Number one, safety.
Ooh,
Definitely a big one.
important.
A lot of ways that you could get hurt on any construction site, but let alone one that you're on a steep roof or on a two-story building on.
And dealing with direct current.
That as well.
Yeah, that is not something most people are used to doing on a day-to-day basis.
Right, but no, I mean, in all seriousness, this is not this is a dangerous project, especially if you do have an inclined roof. When we have those situations, installers will use lifts, they'll use harnesses,
Helmets.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it. These are professionals, so
Gloves, so you don't zap yourself.
Yep, lots of things that you would have to use. So I mean, you could be pretty handy, but this is a whole new animal taking on a project like this. So yeah, if you're gonna try it, which I definitely recommend not doing, got to be pretty safe. That's a huge concern. Roof damage.
Yeah, you don't want that. Yeah, it's what installers have workmanship warranties for.
Yep.
To make sure that when they do that installation, if they do put a penetration, through your roof
Yep.
to cause some leaks, see this unsightly image,
Right.
you will be covered. You
Yep.
will be covered for all of the damages that roof causes. You do that yourself. I hope you got good homeowners insurance,
Right.
basically.
For sure. And when solar installers make these penetrations in your roof, there's sealants that they use. There's obviously a process that they've perfected over 1,000 installations. So roof leaks are pretty uncommon to a solar installer.
Yes.
Maybe quite common to a DIY, someone that's doing it themselves. So yeah, definitely a concern there. And like Patrick mentioned, if it happens on your own, you're not going to be covered under someone else's warranty. That's going to be on you. Yeah, that looks pretty nasty, that image, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Electrical work. I'm getting a headache just kind of looking at this image.
Yikes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things on the electrical side, obviously, that are going into this solar installation. Not only connecting to the inverter or connecting that to your main panel, but if you have an existing main panel that needs to be upgraded, you might not even know that if you are doing this on your own.
Yeah. So, for the skeptics out there, so, I can be safe on my roof.
Yep.
Check mark number one.
Right.
Number two, I'm already forgetting what it was. Roof damage. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing up there.
Right.
Number three, electrical work. I'm an electrical engineer. I can do it.
Yeah.
Do you know about the 120% rule? The grid won't turn it on in the end. There's certain requirements that need to be met.
Yep.
And maybe you're saying don't worry about it. I can figure that one out.
Right.
But this is why we're kind of advising against the
Right.
DIY. It's very, very complex. Even if you have the skill set to be able to, hook up an inverter correctly, hook up the panels and the microinverters correctly,
Right.
run the conduit correctly. Even if you can do all of that, there are more detailed components and
Yeah.
guidelines that you have to follow.
Right. Things that you just don't even know to think about.
Right.
And that's going to be, it's going to kind of lead into our next thing here. Permit hell. So this guy looks pretty frustrated for sure.
Man,
I don't blame him.
this is the guy who did he did the
Yes, the
clean
little-
sealants. He was safe. He did the electric work, and he's trying to turn a system
Right,
on.
yep.
And now he's 10-15 grand in the hole, and he can't get permits
Yeah,
approved.
exactly. Or
Feel for him. Feel for him.
For sure. So, some jurisdictions are easier than other. They're all not easy. Particularly if you're in, an area like New York City or areas where it's a little bit more difficult to get through and get that building permit issued. It's a nightmare. And again, you have seasoned professionals that go through it. They still have problems.
Yeah, and I'll say this about the permitting. Part of that, you're going to be under more scrutiny if you don't have the requisite license, the requisite experience, the experience permitting.
Right.
If you're coming in and saying, hey, I'm doing this on my own, here's my permit, you better believe the inspector is going to take a much more thorough look at all of these components because you don't have the requisite documentation or experience for them to be a little bit more okay with just
And not
trusting
even-
that you're going to
right.
execute upon.
And not even that, not even having the documentation, but the more installations that a contractor or solar installer does, they actually know these inspectors. They personally know them,
Right.
so they know who does good work, and they probably don't know you, and they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna scrutinize that work and likely find some issues. What we don't have in here, aside from the troubles that you're gonna have with dealing with the city and permitting, but dealing with your utility, dealing with the interconnection of
Yep.
getting that system, we call it PTO, permission to operate, from the utility, that the system had to have been sized correctly based on your historical usage. There's a lot of hoops that, again, you probably don't know you're even there, and it's going to cause you a lot of headaches in the back end.
Right. Yeah. So even after the city has to approve and the utility has to approve, I've never seen it on one of our jobs. I've heard horror stories, even with some professional installers, where they've installed the system,
Yep.
gotten the permits, and the utility comes out to inspect and says, "No, we're not going to turn this on."
Right.
And then you have a solar system on your roof, paid for,
Yep.
that you have to then go back and either remove, that's the worst case scenario, or try and fix,
Right.
which will come at an extra cost. Doing that on your own is just the liability's increased,
Right.
for sure.
Absolutely. Two other things, also not mentioned here, but dealing with a homeowners association. That's another tricky thing. You do have to get, occasionally you have to get approval from your homeowners association, a solar installer. They work with your homeowners association. They get a professionally, plan set ready for their approval. Something that they would take care of, something that you would have to do on your own if it came down to it. So.
Right, yeah, and that's something that, HOAs are limited on what they can restrict you on,
Yeah.
but they do require that you submit a design to them, a fully
Right.
engineered design, in order, and then that is something you have to give them before that you can exercise your rights. So to
Sure.
speak. So that's another
Yeah,
thing to consider.
for sure. Another issue, filing for rebates. So, there's state incentives, there's rebates with the utility that involve a tremendous amount of paperwork and know-how on how to navigate through that system. And if you're, a homeowner just going through it, it's going to be a complete nightmare. I mean,
Right.
For an example, the SGIP process in California, it's a very lucrative incentive that somebody can receive, but it is a lengthy process that the normal homeowner is not going to be able to navigate through, and you get very frustrated and likely not be able to get through it at all.
Sure. Now, why would somebody want to go DIY?
That's a good
what
question,
Are,
yeah.
what are the primary reasons that you see when somebody's looking to go DIY?
I would think the attraction there is that they think they can save themselves money. I mean, it's just, okay, well, I see what this solar installer is charging me, and I see what these solar panels are costing. So where is all that extra margin coming from? And here it is. This is where it comes from.
Sure.
It's their expertise. It's navigating through all these processes that you don't know are actually there. We call them soft costs, whatever you want to call it. These are what's incorporated into the installer's quote already.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the equipment that you can just buy and just think that, oh, I'll just, I don't have to pay myself for my own time, so I'm going to save myself a ton of money.
Right. It's not necessarily,
Yeah.
like there's usually, in a lot of construction jobs, there's equipment and labor, and then sometimes there's permitting, depending on
Yep.
the type of a
Here
construction
you got
job.
engineering, administration fees, just dealing with all these different entities
Right.
that have their hands in this project.
Yeah, that was the one that we most often see is somebody say, "Well, here's the equipment, that all must be labor,
Yep.
and I can do that for less."
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
If it were just that, I'd have to
Right,
agree
yeah.
with those folks. But
Yeah.
it is a massive risk to take this on
For
your
sure.
own.
Yeah.
A little more viable if you're in an off-grid project, would you say? Because you don't have
Yeah.
to deal with the utility.
That
Still
would
wouldn't
say.
recommend it. The safety, electrical, all those concerns are still
Yeah, that you might want to consider, because if you're living off grid, you're probably pretty handy yourself.
true.
and a lot of installers actually don't want to install off grid, so you may maybe in the diamond in the rough when
Right.
it comes to that. Another thing to highlight would be if something faulty happened with your equipment, you're going to have to navigate through that process with the manufacturers, taking the equipment back, getting it delivered. I mean, that's something that your installers, they have relationships with distributors, with manufacturers directly. It's something they do all the time, not something that you're going to know how to really navigate through.
Yeah, getting a replacement microinverter or something to that effect, and
Yeah.
getting up there, changing it out, turn your system off.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of
fun.
things that you might not be considering if you're thinking about doing this themselves. I would say the only good candidate for a do-it-yourself project would be if you're a solar installer.
Yeah, I'd probably do it myself if I were self-starter, but I'm not.
Exactly. So I think that's it for today. If anybody has any questions on that, or if you're thinking about solar, let us look into it for you and connect you with a professionally certified installer. Again, strongly would deter you from trying to do this on your own.
Yeah, you could do it your way, just not yourself.
Exactly. I think that's it, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all next week.